Prepare to be amazed. Hi everybody. I am so excited to share with you something new to the channel. Welcome to Shark Week. Yes, I'm going there. Everybody's doing Christmas in July, but this is technically Shark Week. Hi, my name's Dawn. Welcome to the channel. But the reason why I'm doing Shark Week is because I have invented the shark tooth block. And maybe, as you can see, this is not a new invention. So, what is so new about this? For each block, you use 8 squares. Well, as you can see, this is the Periwinkle, hummingbird, wacky web. I don't know what you want to call it. Here it is. I have made a quilt using the papers from Missouri Star and their little template, and it used a lot of fabric and made a huge mess and made lots of scraps. So I made it small because I got frustrated with how much extra work it was. I didn't like it. So I have invented a new thing. I am shark biting into my scraps this week. It's a sharknado of scraps being eaten by these shark teeth. This uses 2.5-inch squares. That's how I've formulated this. There is no cutting on this. So Deborah Holdman, this is for quilters like you. People try to shy away from the angles and the funny flying geese, half-square triangles, half-square rectangles. They don't like doing those quilts. I completely understand your frustration. For years I steered away from complex quilt block patterns with all the funny angles. So this is just made from squares, believe it or not. This was once a square. This is a square. Prepare to be amazed with this sharknado of scrap demonstration. So, I'm playing with the layout. I'm doing a border of the shark teeth. I've made the center the hummingbird periwinkle block. And this is part 1 of this summer scrap series. I will have another part following this when I determine what I'm going to do in the next step. But I got so excited, and it is Shark Week, and so I needed to share the shark tooth quilt block with you. Now, I will say, this is a disclaimer. I have not seen this anywhere. It's possible it exists. I just haven't found that rabbit hole. If you have ever seen this technique, please reach out and let me know. Let me know who has done it, and I will pin credit to them, even though I haven't ever seen it. I've just played with this and figured it out on my own. So this is a brand new technique, invented and exclusive right here to the channel. You're not going to get this somewhere else, and if you do, it's because they've plagiarized me, but that's okay. Sincerest form of flattery if some other channel comes and uses this idea. Content creators, this is for you. If you decide to do this with your stash and you share it on your YouTube or Rumble or wherever you're sharing it, please give me credit for this. For those of you who are very interested in just sewing squares together and no fussy cutting, if you like this video, not only do you like it, please share it. I would like this shared as much as possible. This uses up twice as many scraps as normal. This is my logic. If this block uses 8 squares, but it only is a 4-patch, you're using twice as many pieces of stash or pieces of scraps. Yes. This is mini charm layer cake friendly. You can achieve cutting those items down to 2.5-inch squares, or you can actually use the layer cake and make bigger blocks. If you do that, I will recommend, I did not go over this in the demonstration of the video, I will recommend though that you pin or glue or somehow affix your point to the fabric, to the background fabric, whenever you're sewing it together. Technically, this could also be construed as a 4-blade Dresden. Believe it or not, this could be it's 4-blade Dresden how I've made this. Yep, 4-blade Dresden. So have I got your curiosity piqued? Are you wanting to engage in some shark biting into your stash? Let's go over to the work table. Let's see how these are made. All this is a 2.5-inch square. You fold in half. I go ahead and I finger press this for the next step. I sew down this edge. You could sew down that edge. It doesn't matter which edge. Make sure when you sew down the edge that you back tack or reverse stitch here and here. That's what I've done here. And then I turn around and I've cut away my seam allowance at the very point of this. Now I'm going to turn this inside out. And here's where, if you have a purple thing, it will come in handy. I use a broken dowel rod. Believe it or not, it works. And then I use the tip of my scissors to get the sharp point. And believe it or not, all of these that I've done so far, I've not had one rip out because we have back stitched. Now I'm going to take this to the iron and I'm going to press it where that crease that I made when I was doing this step, when I made the finger crease, I'm going to line my seam up with that line and I'm going to press this. Okay, I have my kite, my periwinkle hummingbird piece ready. I'm going to go ahead and do the same for 4 more pieces. I've got some on the machine. You can chain piece this. It goes really fast. And again, I'm going to come at the top and cut that away. And turn them inside out. All right, I'm going to go ahead and press these. And again, I'm going to line up. And I can see this off camera. You probably can't see this, but there is an invisible line there from me finger pressing it earlier. Now I have several options on how I want to proceed. I can take this time to sew these together like a 4-patch. Sew and sew. I would sew this together like a 4-patch and it would yield me something like this. And then I can take a charm square and I found really good luck with doing it like this, where again I finger press this to line up all of my points. And then wherever my seams are, I line it up with that X in the fabric. And then I can applique this down. That's one way to do it. Or, and then I do have some examples of applique. And I'm not going to say that I like the blanket stitch on this. The black, just, I don't know, I just don't like it. So I started out thinking differently on this. So how can I achieve this without having to do the blanket stitch? Well, I ditched the blanket stitch. So I'm going to take 4 neutral squares, and I am going to applique stitch these down onto the squares. So I'm aligning my 90-degree angle into the corner. And I will stitch this down. Now, I found that you can use my bump jumper. I think that's what this is called. That's what I call it. It came with my machine. But let me demonstrate this. Set it to your machine to the stitch that you want. And then I'm just going to stitch this with a regular straight stitch. Okay. I get to the point, and then when I go to turn it, if I go to sew it with this machine, it will sew it, but it will bunch it up. So I stick this underneath the back of the presser foot, and I start to sew off it. I pause, put my needle down, lift my presser foot, move the tool, and then continue to sew. And I will repeat this for all 4 pieces. And there it is. And you could technically even sew off the point. This is a great way to use all your scraps, and you can use any size square you like. Okay, now I can make my 4 patch. And I'll just sew this like a normal 4 patch. And yes, sometimes it's not perfect, but this is totally going to be lost in the quilt because there's so much going on. I'm going to make my 4 patch. I'll spin my seams so that my blocks, when they nest up to one another, they will nest. I don't have to worry about flipped seams. Here's one that's finished. You can go this route. This will give you more seam allowance room. This one, the seam allowance, your points are almost going to touch each other on the blocks when you sew them together. Have you ever seen such a simple square solution to such a complicated angle with no tools? You saw it right here, folks. Have fun with this.